on the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
So today in our smoke segment, we are all about cigars and, well, anything that's smoked.
Where's the barbecue?
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to discuss today. We did a blind tasting. We like to do things a little different here, so we did a $5 blind tasting review. And we did
intentionally
a cigar that we enjoy that's $5 and under. I absolutely love blind tastings of drinks and cigars because, man, there are some winners and there are some real big losers.
I'm sitting right here.
That being said, we all have a pretty good idea of what we like and don't like. And sometimes we like to try other things that, maybe we usually wouldn't try any other day. Does it work? Find out today here on Smokes Blind Tasting.
Close but no cigar.
We'll be right back after this break. Brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Hey man, got a light? It's time for Smokes.
Welcome to the Smokes episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. I'm your host, good old Boy Barger, and we are the best thing on at 2 a.m. right after. Did I forget to lock the car?
Yes.
And right before, hey, that man stole my wallet.
Possibly.
Today our co-host is going to be good old Boy Mike.
Hey there. Despite, the rumors, I'm still here.
That's right. We're keeping him hostage until he pays his last $14.99 payment.
I have all the buttons over here, see? So that's why, I'm always here.
That's right.
Yes.
Good old boy Drew.
Send help.
Yeah. And then today we're introducing a new good old boy Nathan.
Hey, everybody.
So today in our smoke segment, we are all about cigars and, well, anything that's smoked.
Where's the barbecue?
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to discuss today. We did a blind tasting.
Close but no cigar.
Yeah.
So we like to do things a little different here. So we did a $5 blind tasting review. And we did
intentionally
a cigar that we enjoy that's $5 and under. I absolutely love blind tastings of drinks and cigars because, man, there are some winners and there are some real big losers.
I'm sitting right here.
Yeah, well, you did say send help. That being said, we all have a pretty good idea of what we like and don't like. And sometimes we like to try other things that, maybe we usually wouldn't try any other day. Does it work? Find out today here on Smokes Blind Tasting.
Close but no cigar.
So the thing I love about the way we set this up, this is not just blind, this is a double blind.
Double blind.
So we had no idea what the other co-hosts had selected, and the bands were removed.
Yep.
All we had was just a stick. That's
Just a cigar with Sharpie on it.
Yep.
That's right.
So that's all we had to work with here. So sometimes we've done some blinds where we're actually just take the bands off, but we might know like the brand, right. It could be all Perdomo.
Flavor
or something
profiles
like that.
are a big thing in blind tastings.
So yeah, this was just completely open season, and you're going to hear just how fallible that could possibly be.
Oh yeah. But first, are you a cigar newbie? Fret not, we've got you covered in our Cigar 101 episode where all of this cigar speak will be decoded. Just search for our Sip, Suds, and Smoke Cigars 101, and that episode should pop right up. Follow the link and show the notes. And don't forget to hit that like and follow button. So today, Mike, good old boy Mike, is going to be going over our smokes ratings. So take it away.
We're going to be smoking and discussing these cigars and rating them with our Sip, Suds, and Smokes ratings, plus our signature sounds. We'll also be saying, oh crap, I didn't figure it was that.
Yeah.
So most of the time,
A lot of
you
that.
did what to me, man? So, Smokes rating number 1. This sucked even before it was lit. Our Smokes rating number 2. Did you really have to light this 3 times? A couple of them I did.
Yeah.
Smokes rating number 3. Very nice. Now just go away so I can enjoy this.
So I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy blind tastings. What do you guys think about blind tastings?
I love it.
Yes and no. They're like super honest. There's no place to hide,
So from my perspective, actually being in the retail side of selling cigars, I love it. I do it with a lot of customers often because people get ingrained in their head. I hate that brand. I don't like them. I can't stand anything from that manufacturer. And then you take that band off, you throw that curveball, and they're like, oh my gosh. And I love it because I've been stumped. People thrown me cigars and I've been like, oh, just take off the band. I don't want to see it. And then smoke it and be completely shocked. And so I love it because there is this thing in human nature where the labels, the branding, the company, everything, it pulls you in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have that turn off, it's like if you hate that restaurant, you're never going to want to try it again, even if it's new ownership, new management. So it's like the blind tasting, I love it from that perspective because it gets us out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah, I got a rule in life. I try anything twice because I might not like it the first time.
I've been sitting with you before where you have not tried things twice. So there's that.
Okay. I didn't say it's a science.
So your methodology is slightly flawed.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll admit I'm the guy that good old boy Nate's talking about. I get in a rut. I smoke basically the same 2 brands.
Yeah.
And I enjoy blind tastings or just having somebody throw me a stick that I wouldn't try because it absolutely gets me outside of my wheelhouse, and I've discovered some really good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we what, you love Maduros now? Huh?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, so,
I'm coming around.
So I think that there's both sides of the coin, that will catch up with you in a blind, in a blind tasting of any kind. One is that it's going to dispel a lot of the myths or your preconceptions about whether you're going to like something.
Yeah.
And the other flip side of the coin that I don't think a lot of people appreciate is, wow, I didn't realize that I would enjoy something that much, And so I think it can be not only a myth buster, but I think it can also enhance someone's approach towards a lot of things, either a brand or maybe a wrapper or a binder that they would not normally pick. I'm gonna believe you see this in the shop all day long. People walk in and go, I want Nicaraguan wrapper, I want Nicaraguan binder all day long.
Yep. Or even the novice who just associates the brand with the 3 they've had or they've seen people smoking. I was going to say on this point, I was just remembering as we were talking about this, I have a humidor at home that I just do all my aging with. And I actually remember a couple years ago, I purposely took off some bands, threw them in there. So I have probably 7 or 8 unbanded cigars of all styles that I was kind of just like, what? I'd rather just enjoy this and smoke it blind when I enjoy it. And I know how old they are. They're about 7 years now, but at the same time, I don't really remember because too much life's happened. So it's like, I love it.
I tell you what, I'm guilty of this. I'll go into a cigar shop and just look at bands. And if I see something that I've never smoked that's got an appealing band, I'll buy 2. Smoke them.
As someone who used to work in wine distribution, I mean, there's so many different, studies, psychology. If it looks expensive, it must taste better.
Yeah.
Branding, man, there's so much behind it, and it's so interesting to watch. But when you take that branding away and you just have a product and you let your product speak for itself,
the marketers start crying.
I think that there is something to be said that if I can pick up a stick that I've never had without a band on it and smoke it and go, that was really good.
Well, I think the thing that's catching me right now is, the trend in bands, the bigger the better.
Oh my gosh,
and it's like
big bands.
I'm telling you, there's some of the bands are halfway up the stick.
Yeah, Perdomo used to do that.
Like, could you please just give me a break, man. You know,
And
I don't want to smoke the band. I would like to hold the band while I'm actually smoking it, but it's like physically impossible with some sticks.
Well, and the number of those large bands that have, you know, some sort of glue that leaks out onto the cigar,
Right.
and now you're pulling off a piece of wrapper.
And all the gilding on it, you know, and lasers, and you know, I mean,
This is gold foiled.
I sit around and wonder, and especially knowing a lot of the owners of some of the smaller companies and stuff like that, there's some companies out there where I'm like, when you smoke your own cigars, do you not actually take off the band? Do you just smoke it to it and then throw it away and light another one? Because some companies have never taken off their own band. I'm
betting
convinced
yes.
it. I'm convinced of it.
I think it sucks.
I think that sucks. I think it sucks.
So we're going to start with this reveal here, and I think Mike is up first with his reveal.
all I have to say is Barger's wrong.
Dang it.
Just get that out of the way.
He has been just needling me
Dude.
for weeks.
I'm like,
He's
what is it? What is
he's
it?
like,
What is it? What
It's like,
is
it's Perdomo. It's Perdomo. It's just got to be a Perdomo, right? It's got to, sure. You're going to tell me. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not going to tell you. So just to remind you, what we did is we all selected a stick that was under $5. You know, I think we tried to use basically some mail order pricing as kind of a general yardstick. Maybe cheaper in your retailer, might be a little bit more expensive, you know, online. But, you know, we used a couple of online sites to kind of, you know, delineate, is it a $5 stick or not?
Right.
So my cigar that I chose for this is the Famous Smokes by Drew Estate.
That's it. I quit.
Yeah. And so
What is the Famous Smoke?
I think you mean factory smoke?
Factory Smokes.
Yeah.
What did I
Factory
say?
Smoke.
Factory Smokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close, but no cigar.
I
Yeah,
swore that was a
anyway.
Perdomo.
I knew
Yeah,
it was.
sorry.
I knew it was a
Factory
factory smoke.
Smokes, yeah.
I knew it.
So here is the description from Drew Estate. Skillfully manufactured at La Grande Fabrica, Drew Estate, alongside the same buncheros and roleros who create premium cigars. By the way, I really screwed that up.
Yeah.
Factory Smokes by Drew Estate are economically priced due to their bulk manufacturing and less expensive bundle packaging. A handmade value price line of cigars perfect for sharing and with your friends on a Monday, mowing the lawn, washing the car, you know, smoke it, enjoy it. Toss it if you must, then grab another. From the Wynwood Safe House, Jonathan Drew, founder and president of Drew Estate, our expansion of the bundle business was a decision that we did not take lightly. Bundles aren't glamorous, and the efficiency required to produce them effectively is not easily reached, which is why there aren't a ton of entrants innovating into the value price space. This is long overdue for the Drew Estate, and when we reached the production scale required to compete, we knew we wanted to do what with this and to disrupt the space with an innovative, deep value line of quality smokes and a broad set of thrifty individuals. There's 4 different versions of the factory smokes. So there is the sweet with a Habano wrapper, the Maduro with the Maduro wrapper.
That's on the top of the floor pile, right?
And this is, and Shade, which is shade grown wrapper. And the one that I presented to you is the Sungrown with Sungrown Habano wrapper.
Okay.
So that is kind of the general overview of these. And, you know, after we come back from break, I'll tell you what the general, it was interesting. A lot of retailers, what they told me, you know, these, how these sticks came to be. Because it is not what is the truth. So
Hype.
And welcome back to our blind tasting. We just went over Mike's floor cigar. Famous factory cigar.
Throwing some shade there.
Yeah,
I mean, sun-grown.
that he made us taste blindly. Anyway, keep going. Tell us some more.
Well, so the story that I wanted to share was an interesting conversation that I've had with several retailers. And even there are some places online that you ask, you know, where did these come from? And the one thing that I heard very consistently, and I don't know if that it was an early marketing piece that, you know,
Probably.
eventually was, you know, got changed, was these were factory rejects.
Yeah.
And, you know, they dropped out from quality control. And that's the reason why, you know, either the draw was bad or the binder wasn't, you know, working really well, or the outside
Too veiny.
wrapper or something else. There was some basic flaw or defect. And that is the reason why they wound up, you know, in the bins that they are. So that is not true, by the way. So these are actually manufactured in a bundled format. So because they're not putting a box around it, or, if we go back to the bands, these are not gilded bands, with special glue from, South Africa or something like that. So they're able to, really kind of hit this price point. I've been guilty of coming back in and picking these up, either for myself. It's a good, golf stick. I would say that it's a good golf stick. It's a great boat stick. And the reason why is because you're moving around a lot. And if you don't have like a hard container or something like that, and you threw them in a bag and you kind of smush it or something like that, you're whatever. There's 3 more in the bag. I'm good.
For as much time as you play golf on your boat, I'm sure you buy a lot of these.
Yeah. So I hand these out. I don't have a problem, sharing any cigar, but, especially these, I'm like, hey, look, you don't know what you like. Here you go.
Yep. And you buy it by the bundle. It's like $1 or something a stick.
Yeah. These probably, you can find them at retail for probably as low as $175 if you buy them, as a bundle, as a single stick. It might be, closer to like $350. I got, raped and pillaged at this retailer and paid like, $4.25 a stick for these. But anyway, I do, out of the lineup, I'm probably partial to the Sweet and the Sungrown are probably my favorites. I'm not particularly a fan of the Maduro in this lineup. It's just a little too gamey, but
yeah. I'm a fan of Sungrown anything, really.
See, that the Sungrown factory smoke is my least favorite. And it's the least like I could live without it.
Yeah. Well, let's get, before we start getting our opinions on these things, let's go ahead and go on to the next stick.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to know whether you like it or not.
Oh no, you're going to know.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be. I'm going to make you wait.
All right.
Drew, what was your stick?
Well, I may be, I feel a little perhaps like there's something I have to, reveal. I also picked the factory smoke by Drew Estate.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was not the Sungrown.
I swore they were the same stick.
Hilarious.
I picked a Maduro.
No way.
Funny. You picked a Maduro?
I picked a Maduro because I figured that no one would think that I would pick a Maduro.
That's a good call.
Was that even that dark?
No, it was a light Maduro. It's not even a dark Maduro.
No, but most of those factory smokes Maduros are like really dark, rich leaves.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, that is crazy.
How bizarre.
Oh, that is wild.
But
that is so funny.
I knew that Mike's cigar was a factory smoke because
he held them next to each other. And so
no, they smoked the same way. Like,
yeah.
It was very interesting. I was like,
I did notice they smoke similar.
Huh.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, see, I didn't go there. I wasn't really trying to figure out what it was. I was really just I was more concerned about, do I like it? What was the overall quality and construction? Was the draw like? I wasn't really trying to play, I can figure out what this is. Right. Although, yeah, that's funny.
I wasn't either, but it was just so obvious.
So,
that's
did you
funny.
walk into it with that preconception that I'm going to get, a factory smoke, or you walked in and went, I need to look at everything that's under $5 in the humidor?
I went in with the latter,
the preconception,
the latter approach,
which I did as well.
I did choose.
That's funny.
Did say that I was going to do a Maduro though,
hilarious.
because I did anticipate.
I almost switched to the Sweet just because there were a lot more of those available.
See, I would have been if I would have tasted that Sweet straight to my lips, I would have been like, what are we doing here? Like, just not. I would have been. I would have been so thrown off.
This is a Swisher Sweet, Nathan.
That's exactly I
know.
And I think that is a gateway, from Swishers.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of Black and Milds?
Right. Or some Tampa Nuggets.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
all right. So Nathan, what
all
was
I
your
can
cigar?
say is just excellent choice, Drew.
I do my best.
I
do
like
my
that.
best.
I like that.
So what was your cigar?
So
ours were good and theirs suck. I got this.
I love the fact that you guys pick factory smokes, and I have a cigar that you probably never heard of. But
Me too.
So my cigar is it's a brand new cigar that just came out this summer by Artista Studio Works, El Artista formerly, called the Paperboy Maduro. It is a new like 4x44.
I've seen these, but
Mexican San Andreas, Dominican. So the wrapper leaf is San Andreas, binder is Dominican, And fillers are Colombian, Dominican, and USA, which I'm going to assume it's probably Pennsylvania on that one. But that one actually, you're going to find it from $3 to $3.99. It also comes in a Connecticut shade. My friends at Artista Cigars, they make another cigar called the Buffalo 10, which is also under $5. They make another cigar called the Fugly, which is like a straight Dominican Lajero Puro that's like under $5. They're a really reliable company for that price point.
Interesting choice.
Nice.
Yeah. I've seen that stick.
Yeah.
I've just never.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's a cool packaging because it's all wrapped in newspaper. Their whole thing was.
Yeah.
I was talking to them and they actually were going more off the Game Boy theme and that whole thing. But
I think I asked somebody, do you use the newsprint to light it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were like, that's probably not a good idea. I think it would have a huge flame in front of it.
Boy, well,
It's such a short stick. I mean,
Hey,
talk
Mike,
about an eyebrow singe.
What happened to your eyebrows, buddy? I don't want to talk about it.
Nate made me do it.
That's right. So for my cigar, I might have went to $5.25.
Oh, yeah.
that cigar might have had a price change recently. It's okay. It's okay.
So it's under $5 now. It's an Illusione Legrand Class Rex.
We've had that. Well, we've had a different version on the right.
No, I don't think we've had that before.
We haven't had the Illusion. Okay.
We've had an Illusione, but not this one.
Right. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a country of origin is Nicaragua. It's made at the Tabacaville de Jalapa, SA. It's got an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder, and a Nicaraguan filler. It's 4 7/8 inches long. It has a girth of 40.
Today we're going to be demonstrating how to measure girth. Girth is a very important measurement when determining sizes. First, take your tape measure, place it at the center of the shoulder, bring it down through the crotch, and back up again, making sure it's going over the widest part.
Never gets
It's
old.
a Vitola Petite Corona, and you can get them in bundles of 25. And I love that cigar.
So dinky.
Yeah.
It's
You
perfect.
think the cigar's so dinky?
It's perfect.
yours was smaller than his.
I know.
Yeah, it's perfect, man. It's a perfect smoke.
So that cigar is also nicknamed the flavor bomb, though, because it is short and sweet, but it'll just hit you in the face with flavor.
Yeah, it will for sure.
Huh. I will tell you that in my notes, I did not write down the word flavor bomb.
Did you retrohale it?
No, I did not. Yeah.
All right, so now that we know what we've all smoked, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could hear this coming down for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I liked the one that Nate gave us, and I liked mine, but I didn't like y'all's.
Well, it's interesting because I had pretty much the opposite experience.
You loved the factory smokes.
I will say this: I didn't hate the ones that you guys put in. Like, I think the construction, the quality was there. I think that it was a decent smoke, but it's not one that I would go purchase.
Well, it was also, 20% of the cost of yours?
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm a little bougie.
So, I will tell you that I rated all of them the same. So from a rating perspective, I think overall, I think part of what I was teasing out at the end of, would I go back to any of these? That's always, my mark of, it's one thing, to rate it, a certain thing, but it's, would I like to go back to it? For a variety of reasons. Maybe I had something that was a little off and I'm like, I really want to come back, and maybe it was just that particular stick or how it was stored for a while or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm a little, we do that with a lot of things, to
Different
taste
settings.
it for one time and, and just pour concrete about how you feel about it.
Right.
I don't know that you're always doing that product a lot of justice. So,
Would you eat that day? Would you drink right before you had it?
Well,
Yeah.
and I guess, and even
how
not,
fast was I going in the car?
not
Yes.
knowing
Why
what
are you arguing
everybody
with the missus? Like,
prefers to smoke too. I guess even the question being like, when you said the factory smokes, the Maduros, that one in that specific line is not your favorite. Do you smoke Maduros often? Do you go for like the real, like
Oily.
straightforward oily? Do you go for that broadleaf? Do you go, because San Andreas, like I'm on a massive San Andreas kick, and even with mine, it has its features that are so different than other Maduro wrapper leaves. And so it's interesting because like you can, like I'm stumped in yours because I'm not naturally a sun-grown, especially even Drew Estate sun-grown tobacco. Like to me the word sun-grown is a little weird because
everything
90% of what we smoke is sun. If it's shade, it's not, but that one is not something I would gravitate towards. And I feel like smoking those blind, I feel like I need to look for a new job soon. So,
I think the one thing probably with sun-growns is that I think they're incredibly overpriced. And I really find the way that a lot of retailers, are introducing them, they just are all over the map, man. It's like, could you land on like one thing? I get people that are describing it as, it's dry, it's oily, it's moist, it's smoky. I mean, it's like spinning the wheel, to try and figure out exactly where, people are landing and describing this. I mean, it's such a broad description.
Yeah, you can't narrow it down that far because Corojo is Corojo, Habano is Habano, Criollo. Like they're such vastly different plants, different ways that they actually can process and cure and ferment that tobacco. So that's the thing is like if you grow a tobacco plant in Dominican Republic versus Nicaragua and all this, like they're going to operate so differently that there's so many different dynamics. So in that, like we can't just this blanketed statement of it's like small, medium, large, like
all Maduros suck.
Yeah, all Maduros suck. Like that guy said, but it's like everything is different, and the way a Mexican San Andreas and a Connecticut broadleaf couldn't be grown in two opposite different regions. And so it's like it's just very interesting, and it's funny sitting in a room full of whiskey and wine and all this stuff. We talk about those processes very heavily with it, and we give whiskey a lot of grace for that difference. But I feel like for cigars, we often don't. People will broad label it, and it's like, no, with this, you move a barrel to a certain part of the rick house, and it's going to change everything. And it's the same with tobacco. It's it's a science.
Is it that people expect that in whiskey but not in cigars, or is the customer just less educated?
Well, I think that there's more consistency in cigars than there is in whiskeys.
There is.
That's true.
But
different
I
quality
also
control measures. But you're still dealing with the agricultural product that's going to have variations.
Right.
So
and cigars are a niche. That's the thing. Compared, whiskey, so many people are willing to drink or try it or get into it. Smoking is still a niche market world. So it's like I do think that most people are still, when they come into it, are novice, and it more depends on if they're willing to learn and start understanding, or if they're just going to kind of stick to their old grandpa's way of smoking.
I'll tell you, I really enjoy sun-grown cigars.
So do we get to talk? I still don't know if you guys like my stick or not. So I don't like the way I said it.
I like your stick, Mike.
Let's do this. Let's just rate Mike's stick right quick.
I want to hear what you.
I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
So I really enjoy sun-grown cigars. The ones that I started with was like an Ashton VSG, or like the 858 sun-grown from Fuente. That is a solid stick. But I would have never guessed that cigar that you give us was a sun-grown.
Same.
I thought it was like a Connecticut.
I thought it was a Connecticut as well.
Interesting.
So I thought that they were both shade.
But in my notes for that, actually, I didn't hate on it in my notes. I said off the light, it's kind of spicy, but not.
Really?
So it's, yeah. And I said halfway down, it's got good flavor and it's a bit tangy. Like, I remember the last third of the cigar was not my favorite. I think it got a little too hot, and I think that's where the factory part comes into play. So when you get to the end of those factory seconds, or whatever you guys want to call them.
They're not seconds.
Well, whatever.
Okay, the budget
Cuban
sticks.
sandwich is what I'd say, because the big difference too that's interesting is that split is you guys had mixed filler cigars, and actually both of ours would be full long filler.
True.
Which is interesting as well, just even in the comparison. But there you're also looking at size differences. People may not know we had Toros of the factory smokes, and we had basically petite Coronas, or little Panatellas of ours, mine and Mike's.
I was just waiting for somebody to throw a cigarello into it, and I was like, really? Seriously? Could you give me a smaller?
Hey, if it's good, I'll throw it in.
Hey, man.
A $5 cigarillo?
I did consider bringing CAO Moontrance.
Oh, man. Why would you do that to us?
That would have trumped everything.
I would have just thrown it out the window and told you I smoked it.
All right, Barger. So any other comments about the Sungrown?
No, I was thoroughly surprised, and actually I found that the retrohale on that one was quite pleasant, and actually, like, for a cigar that price, I mean, there's no reason that I shouldn't
get a bundle.
smoke it.
I will go buy a bundle of those.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So let's see your ratings here for it. Yeah. Well, that's exactly where I thought it was going to be.
So a solid smokes rating of 2. All right, so Drew,
Yes.
the cigar that you put us on,
Yes.
the Maduro,
Ish.
I liked it to start with.
Fair.
And I think that the flavor profile was really good to start with.
Oh, this is what we had last night.
Yeah.
So Barger and I were sitting together, and actually we were smoking at the same time.
We smoked it last night.
It'll be interesting because we didn't look at each other's notes until. Yeah.
So the flavor profile off the light was good, but man, halfway down that cigar, it just turned to just trash, and I actually set it down and lit another one.
Well, there you go.
I made myself finish it because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Here's my notes.
It just got
Drew.
so hot. Like the draw was so loose on it that all the heat just kept coming in, and it just kept burning the insides of it. And I don't know if that's a factory.
How did you cut it?
I normal cut.
Yeah, straight
cut.
Normal straight cut.
See, I always do a notch. I didn't have that problem personally.
Right.
V cut.
Okay.
I wrote, it was kind of woody up front, very mild for a long time. Fair draw. It felt kind of cheap in the hand.
Oh, yeah.
And
for sure.
I wrote down, this tastes like a store brand. It just paired in, that was the one thing that Barger and I actually did talk about is that it really felt like it was a store bundle that had been private labeled. And we had a really righteous Four Roses OESK.
Oh my God,
with it.
that was so good
from Alabama Bourbon Group, and it was like the perfect pairing to go with it.
It was really good. Yeah, it was really good.
I would not go back to this again, but I am glad that I had it in the blind, and I'm even more impressed that you picked the factory smoke because I probably would have not gone back to that particular Maduro.
And we'll see what good old boy Nate thinks about it when we come back from break. And we're back just talking about the stick that Drew gave us. I don't even know that I would qualify it or call it a stick. It was more like a match that we just kind of burned and looked at. But what did you think about it, Nate?
So I didn't like it, but I actually also
Straight to the point.
I also would like to send out an investigation. I have a little picture here, and I would just question the shading on that. This picture is a little bad. It makes it dark, and it does look like that. But man,
so
I
you
swear,
don't think that it was in Maduro when you were smoking?
well, like
it?
part of me just like wonders, did Michael mix them up or something, or was there some? I don't know.
No.
That was, especially, I have looked at the Factory Smokes Maduro several times.
Did you think it was Obscura or something else? Or
I mean, there's a chance it exactly was that.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it had that lighter shit. Like, it was just.
But it had that spicy, bold flavor up the front.
It was on the floor.
For me, it did.
It was on the floor, and it was right next to the door of the humidor. So perhaps the color has faded over time. It's
possible.
It was crispy.
That's possible.
Yeah, which is interesting because I keep my humidor at 72.
Oh, there you go. So what was everyone's smokes rating on Drew's? Okay, so that's a smokes rating of 1.
Oh, wrong button there.
All right, so now we're going to dive into the stick that good old boy Nathan.
Before we do, I will say it is more of a gateway Maduro, and I might try it again if I knew it was fresher.
We're going to turn you to Maduros. Just give it time.
Take me to the dark side.
I will. So, Nate, take it away. Tell us what you got.
What I had? Wait.
Oh, you already told us. What did you think?
Oh, what did I think of mine?
Yeah.
I love that one. I like that. For me, it's a good little traffic smoke. I smoke in my car.
Yeah.
So you get stuck in traffic. It's perfect.
smoke.
Perfect little time. It's got a little, that San Andreas gets that rich chocolatiness to me, that bold flavor. I don't know. For me, it smokes great. Burns
I
great.
really love the idea of pairing life or experiences with a cigar.
Yeah.
It's like if I had to challenge a retailer to take like a section of their humidor, it would be a life cycles, section to go. Here's the cigars that you're going to smoke in traffic. Here's the ones when you want to get away from your spouse. Here's the one when you go to a funeral. Here's the one you go with golf. Here's the ones that you smoke when you're at a wedding or on a boat. Or there you go.
I have a pastor and therapist friends of mine who have said that before when they've had meetings that have been over cigars. No, just different.
Oh, okay.
I just know a bunch of people in that who smoke cigars who've always kind of picked, the meeting they have, depending on the size of the cigar, how long they actually want to be there, how long they want to, it's very situational. Okay, if I want to sit and
Sounds
actually
like a
dive
stump
into
thing.
it.
Oh, I love that. Sorry.
So
it really caught my attention. I'm like, oh man, I wish people do that.
I like it. That's how I think about it, though. To me, it's like, okay, I'm sitting in traffic. It makes me mad. I'm frustrated. So like smoking, it's a calming, it's relaxing. And then I start to actually focus on the flavor. So I enjoy that one because it helps distract me.
So it's funny you talk about driving and smoking because I'd once, I was down at King Corona in Tampa, one year, and I sat down with this old man and was smoking a cigar, and I drove up, and got out of my car and was smoking a cigar, and he's like, "What do you smoke while you're driving?" It's like, "Why do you do that?" I said, "I don't know. I just like cigars." And then he went on, the conversation was like, "Well, this is an experience. Like, the cigar is an experience. Like, I don't like to," and he explained why he didn't like to smoke while he drives or does anything, because he wants to actually honor the cigar and be involved with it as it's burning.
He sounds like he's a lot of fun at parties.
He actually was really cool. But that made me think, when I drive and smoke cigars, I'm not really paying attention if I like the cigar or not. I'm not really paying attention to it. So I could just burn through whatever I want and drive. So I've kind of made a mental change in my habits. So I don't smoke while I drive anymore.
See, some of my favorite cigars I've ever smoked have actually been while I'm driving.
Really?
Long road trips, and for me,
maybe on a road trip.
Well, no, but even in Nashville traffic, because working in retail, I leave my work and with a lit cigar, I drive home, and finish that cigar. And to me, it's like, it helps slow me down. And I actually find that by me focusing on the cigar, it lowers my road rage and it helps me focus my ADHD brain in to paying attention. Like, it's funny. I don't feel like I miss
Maybe
a lot
that should
of
be a section of the life cycle.
Right.
Is
When you want to kill everyone around
no,
you.
If you want to
exactly.
reduce road rage, get this
exactly.
stick.
So to me, I actually love driving and smoking because I used to tell people, I was talking to somebody about this. I used to ride my bike around everywhere and listen to my favorite record and my favorite, like metal band in my headphones with, a CD player. And like, to me, that's when I really took it in because my ADHD brain, it was like, could focus. So honestly, with cigars, I think I can focus on the cigar and drive.
Well, here's my notes on on Nathan's cigar. What was it again? It's the Paperboy, right? Yeah. It's a bit too earthy, even for a Maduro. It was Maduro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I wanted to make sure I had that part down. It was a tad tough draw. It was woody and earthy. Had a touch of spice to it. It was okay.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that really caught my this thing was so freaking small. I was
It's a flavor bomb.
I really thought somebody slipped the Swisher Sweet in on us when I saw it.
It was one of those things where before, as I was just getting into it, it was done, and it never turned. Yeah,
it was one.
I mean, I probably smoked that thing down until I was, like putting Band-Aids on my finger.
Yeah.
So, and I was ready to go get a roach clip or something. I'm like, surely it's going to turn one point in time, but yeah.
I smoked it in traffic, leaving work, just like you said, and I was done with it before I got on the interstate. It was like 15, maybe 20 minutes at most. And
Man, you're chiefing it.
I mean,
you were chiefing it hard.
Traffic, but
So what was your guys' ratings for that one? Oh, okay. That's an overall 2.
The note that I wrote down was wet oak leaves.
Okay.
Now, I would be intrigued for you guys to try the Connecticut one because it is creamier, and I would be intrigued to
I'm
see.
a sucker for a Connecticut.
So I'd be
red.
intrigued to
Yeah.
actually see what that. I think I threw the wrong cigar to the wrong crowd.
He really loves Cameroons too.
Ooh,
I'm also a Cameroonian fan.
All right. So what'd you guys think of the Illusione?
Let's see. My notes here on that. Could you find a smaller stick? I wrote down
We
Petite
did,
Lancero, but it was what?
It was
Petite Corona.
Petite Corona, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, seriously, it was a twig. It was pretty spicy up front, but just as quickly mild out. It's a nice, even draw and burn. Fairly good construction to it. The flavor was a tad woody. I was done in like 30 minutes on this too. It was just so small. I was like, wow, I'd like to give this a little more time. So it's done.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But I love it because they're good in between cigar. They're good. I don't have an hour to commit to a cigar. You know what I mean? I just have a little bit of time here and there.
I just am not a fan of that size. I felt like, I've somebody who's going to tap me on my left shoulder going, sir, you want to step up and get a real cigar?
Yeah.
Any
so
moment?
it's funny that you say it like that in that perspective, though, because cigar nerd moment, Illusione to me, Dion, the guy who owns it, he to me there's stories and they're all true about how he can pick apart blends, and somebody will be like, hey, Dion, smoke my new blend. He'll smoke it and he'll be able to talk about tobacco in it. And the funny part about this is that cigar right there is the cigar that every member of Illusione is always smoking in the office. They all are like taking bundles home. All of the guys, that's how I found out about it. It's like for a while it wasn't even advertised. It was exclusive to their store in Reno. Then they started bringing it to their stores and to their retail partners. And so it's funny though, because it's that thing where if you ever meet somebody who works directly for Illusione, they'll be like, wait, you've never smoked the Rex? And they'll like make it your mission to smoke it. So it's very interesting that
I love Illusione, by the way.
I know
that you feel that feeling though.
And I should have known that. I knew that about you. Yeah.
To me, it's just funny that though how that does with our culture of cigars and sizes and all that. We think those things in our brain, but then when I look at one of the great people, great creators in our industry, and that's what they go for. It's just interesting. It's the same thing between everybody thinking you need a torch, and in Nicaragua, everybody uses a Bic. That's how it is. Like there's no butane in the country. So it's like, I find those topics very interesting.
It just reminds me of the Benji Menendez, the roller for Partagas, was the master roller for Partagas. He used to roll cigars and for himself to smoke while he rolling these other cigars. And it was the Partagas Benji, and they're some of my favorite cigars. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. It was the draw was a little rough for me. I wonder if maybe I got a stick. Maybe I left it in the humidor a little too long. It was still a little wet, or flavor was great. I would say flavor bomb is an accurate description.
Yeah.
But it was just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was just.
I hit the wrong button there.
It was hard to draw. Maybe I should do a guillotine cut as opposed to
normal cut on
opposed
that's
to a
way to
notch.
go.
So
Yeah.
I say I would try it again, which is more than I could say for Nathan.
So I've never heard you say that your experience of a cigar is directly aligned towards your choice of cut.
Yeah.
I don't think I've not heard you do that before. Are there a few that I probably enjoy a punch as opposed to straight? Yeah, but I don't know that I buy in that there is such a direct influence. I think the shape of the cigar probably dictates.
I V-cut torpedoes all the time.
Yeah, see, I do that too.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Sometimes I will do an X. I'll V-cut it twice.
Do you just walk up and drop a cube of ice in every whiskey you have too?
Oh, we'll talk about that on the Sips
Them's fighting words.
episode. So let me ask you guys, did any of you guys pair anything with these? Or was it obviously you were driving and did you guys?
Always. Well, we talked about the Four Roses that we had with Drew's,
Oh my God, it was so
factory
delicious.
smokes. Yeah, and it just happened to be, we probably had like 20 whiskeys around us at the time, and that one just lit that cigar up. And in fact, part of the conversation we had about that Four Roses is it actually made the cigar much better.
Oh,
it was
100%.
one of those moments where you're like, wow. And, we were we were kind of speculating. We were like, well, it was a really great whiskey all by itself, but it actually elevated that cigar in a place that, it definitely made it, more enjoyable. I'm always pairing, things along the way, and I've been definitely going through a lot of rum pairings. With Bargers, I didn't write it down, but I remember that I had a brand new Foursquare rum that got released right in the middle of this, which was Isonome.
Oh, that's so delicious.
And which is just an over-the-top, rum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to talk about a unicorn in the middle of all this, but it just obliterated the cigar. I mean, it just came in and said, I'm here. Just get out of the way. What are you doing? You can't even play tiddlywinks,
That happens.
Your little cigar's in my way, So and I ended up just, thank God it was only 30 minutes because I enjoyed the rum for about another hour.
Yeah. What about you? Did you pair anything with any of them?
Coffee was the thing I had with the two factory smokes.
Never done that.
Oh, coffee's
my number one.
Oh my gosh, coffee with a good sun-grown cigar is fantastic.
He's a coffee snob.
I will say this on the Sips and Suds and Smokes podcast. Yeah. I will go for coffee over any alcohol any day with a cigar. Yeah. I think when you're actually talking pairing notes and flavor, and by that standpoint, not how it makes you feel, but actually like flavor. Coffee, especially, you can get as vast, the origins, all that stuff, but it's a
I have a really good Guatemalan, right now that I'm going through, and it's a Weiwei Guatemalan, and it actually was a Cup of Excellence that won 5th place that year, and it's really amazing. There's a lot of wine notes off that particular. So I think that I'm probably going to go for something that's a bit beefy to kind of pair it with. Yeah.
So I just want to tell you guys, I really appreciate. I had a lot of fun with this blind tasting.
Did you have fun trying to guess what
I did. I racked my. I was like, this has to be this.
I really enjoyed stumping you. Man, you just kept on saying Perdomo louder and more often.
I was just like at the top of the script. Perdomo, isn't it?
Perdomo.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Smoke. Yeah, no, that was a really good time. How did you guys think about the blind?
I had fun with it. I had fun with it for sure.
Later,
I would do it again.
Yeah, well, we're going to.
Can we do $10 and under?
Take it up. Yeah. Do different series. Take it up to $20, and then we'll tear apart the $20 cigars. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I actually had I don't know if we have time for the whole story here, but so I had one story. We were talking about cigars that were, at a Vegas store. So the store that I went to, I actually, picked up the factory smoke. I actually picked up a couple of other things while I was at that particular store. They had Eye of the Tiger. Of course, I'm going to get that. But they actually had Casa Fuente, which I had never had before. And I'm like, where did that come from? And I didn't know the story, and the person in the store didn't know it either. So I had to come back, and I'm like, oh, so there's a store in Vegas that is actually called Casa Fuente, and it is a private label. And I'm like, oh, I've never had this before. Let's just say it was high dollar stick. Yeah. And my expectations were kicked way up, when I was having that. Yeah. Hugely disappointed. So, yeah.
Well, this has been awesome, and I really appreciate you guys for helping me do this. I want to thank our co-host, good old boy Mike.
I'm going to take all my bands off my cigars, and I'm going to tell you that they're not Perdomos. So, just to keep you going. Hey, listen, come back, enjoy another exciting episode here of Sip, Suds, and Smokes. I'm going to ask you to keep on sipping.
Yep. And good old boy Drew, thank you.
I will do my best to pair with coffee in the future and not just PBR.
There you go. And good old boy Nathan, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Your first time, man. This is going to be great.
Yeah. You should set this up with, some of your friends. If you haven't thought about, putting together a blind together. Yeah.
Actually, Michael and I used to have a thing where we'd send a Herfordor around the country to different friends, and do that with your friends. Take off the band, mail them a Herfordor.
Yeah, we used to send it from Tampa to here to Oklahoma. And then
where the winds
it would cycle through all three of us, and there was 2 people at each one that we'd pull one out, smoke it, and then replace it and send it.
It's a great low dollar, group activity. Just, $3 or $4, throw it in a bag, pop and share them with each other, and
Pair it with some whiskey too, maybe.
Oh yeah,
right. That's right.
Do a triple blind. Do blind whiskey and blind.
And that's not drink till you're blind.
Double blind cigar. So
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool.
Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in.
I would just put rum in burgers.
That's right.
What do you think of this whiskey?
Oh,
Join
it's
us
great.
next time
Sweet.
It tastes like 4 roses.
here at Sip Suds and Smokes.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap
Tap it in.
the subscribe button.
Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, Google, Uncle Larry, or whoever it is that talks to you on your phone, play podcast Sip Suds and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram with our handle @SipSudsAndSmokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands,
Millions and millions.
of other fans on those social media platforms. Do us a favor. Take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. Come back, join us for another episode, and keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip Suds and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.